Thank you very much indeed. Good morning, everybody. It is a real pleasure for me to officially welcome all of you here to Scotland's capital city, Edinburgh, for the 2017 Arctic Circle Forum. I hope you are all enjoying the wonderful Scottish weather, firstly, and all of the wonderful Scottish hospitality. Although I should warn you, there are aspects of the Scottish hospitality that you should try to enjoy in moderation if you want to be able to fully enjoy all of the discussions over the course of the forum. Let me begin by thanking President Grimson and the Arctic Circle Secretariat for all their help in bringing this forum to Scotland. The presence of so many people from across Scotland, the Arctic region, and indeed beyond is testament to the importance of this event. And I think it is also testament to the importance of the issues that will be discussed today and tomorrow. I've made this point a couple of times before, but I think it's a point that bears repetition. Scotland is geographically the Arctic's nearest non-Arctic neighbour. The northern part of Scotland is closer to the Arctic than it is to London, so it makes perfect sense for us to be playing an important and full role in the Arctic Circle deliberations. We, of course, share ties of history, friendship and culture that in many cases go back centuries. For example, the Icelandic sagas of the 13th century chronicle the early history of our Orkney Islands. And you can see a more recent link on the mound at the very heart of our capital city. Last night saw the lighting of Edinburgh's Christmas tree, and that tree is a gift from the community of Hordaland in Norway, and it recognises the fact that during the Second World War, Free Norwegian Army units found a home here in Scotland. So these ties of history, friendship and culture are strong and should be celebrated. But of course, the focus of this forum is not our shared past, important though that is. It is about the future, and specifically Scotland's modern relationship with the Arctic region. Now, our similarities, both geographical and cultural, mean that Scotland and the Arctic states often face many of the same issues. In fact, we're seeing that more and more as our nations adapt to major economic and environmental changes, from the onset of global warming to the effects of globalisation. It means that now, more than ever before, there is a need and indeed an opportunity for us to work together on shared priorities. And that is fundamentally what this forum and our concept of the New North is all about. And perhaps the most important of these shared priorities is global warming. When Ban Ki-moon addressed the Arctic Circle Assembly in 2016, he described the Arctic as the ground zero of climate change. He highlighted that a temperature increase of 2 degrees worldwide might well mean an increase of 4 or 5 degrees within the Arctic Circle. And that's one reason why many Arctic states are at the forefront of tackling climate change. And here, Scotland is determined to lead by example. Last week at the UN Climate Change Conference in Bonn, I spoke about some of the specific steps that our country is taking. We've already set, and we are well on course to meet, some of the most ambitious emission reduction targets in the world. And we're now in the process of making those targets even tougher. And as part of that, we have committed to an early decision on when Scotland will aim to achieve net zero emissions. Our targets for renewable energy generation and the early adoption of electric vehicles are the most stretching anywhere in the United Kingdom. And since 2012, Scotland's Climate Justice Fund has provided more than £20 million for projects in sub-Saharan Africa which help communities there combat the effects of climate change. Of course, in many areas, such as renewable energy generation, we recognise that while we're doing well, we're still some way behind countries like Iceland and Norway. And so increasingly, we want to work with and learn from other countries, including those in the Arctic, to help us achieve our ambitions. Just last month, I had the honour of opening High Wind Scotland off the northeast coast of our country. Now, that is the world's first floating offshore wind farm, and it has been developed by Norway's state energy company Statoil. It is a hugely exciting project which could transform the development of offshore wind farms in deeper waters, and it is just one example of the international collaborations that Scotland is deeply involved in. We're also a world leader in marine energy. More wave and tidal power companies have demonstrated their technologies at the European Marine Energy Centre in Orkney than at any other site in the world, including firms from Finland, Sweden and Norway. And we're collaborating with Arctic nations on essential scientific research. Scottish universities and research institutes have worked with partners in Norway and the US to study the Greenland fjords. Their research aims to predict how melting ice sheets will affect sea levels. So this kind of collaboration is helping us in Scotland to fulfil our moral obligations in relation to climate change. But it's also helping us to realise significant economic benefits. The low carbon sector here in Scotland currently employs almost 60,000 people, and there is great potential for growth. So working together on climate change is first and foremost essential for the future of our planet, but it will also bring economic benefits to communities across the New North. Now, I focused on climate change so far because it is so fundamental to the futures of all of our nations. But the programme for the next 2 days demonstrates that there is much more scope for collaboration. If we take tourism as one further example, that's a sector expected to grow dramatically in the Arctic over the coming decades. And it's an area where Scotland already has particular strengths. Our tourism industry accounts for over 200,000 jobs across our country. So we have a lot of expertise in developing sustainable tourism, but we're also keen to learn and create new tourism links with our Arctic neighbours as well. That's why late last year, our tourism agency, Visit Scotland, signed a memorandum of understanding with Iceland's tourism board to share ideas, knowledge and best practice. And that kind of collaboration will be particularly important as more remote areas become accessible for tourism in the future. We're also working with our partners to equip communities, particularly those in remote areas, for the economic and environmental changes that we will see in future. After all, these changes will have a major impact at local level, so we need to ensure that our communities have the resilience and the ability to thrive. One of the discussion sessions of this forum focuses on the work of Lateral North, a design collaborative from my home city of Glasgow. For the past year, they have been working with the Anchorage Museum in Alaska on the Mapping Anchorage project. That involves helping 3 Anchorage communities to become more resilient and connected by identifying challenges and opportunities and proposing solutions. Tourism and design, of course, are just a couple of the issues that will be covered as part of this forum. Over the next 2 days, there will also be sessions on planning and transport, new shipping opportunities, local energy solutions, marine development, young people in remote communities, air travel and business cooperation. The variety of these sessions, I think, demonstrates the extent of our shared priorities and also the scale of the opportunities for further collaboration. And of course, all of the issues that we are discussing are linked, whether directly or indirectly, to a much larger theme. One of the questions that countries right across the world are struggling with at present is how to ensure that a dynamic, open, innovative economy goes hand in hand with a fair, inclusive and sustainable society. No country has all the answers to that question, but Arctic countries on many measures are leading the way. For example, they account for 5 of the top 11 countries in the UN Human Development Index. So for Scotland, it makes sense for us to look north as well as south when we tackle major social and economic challenges. Our hope is that by working more closely with the Arctic Circle on the environment, on business links, on improving local communities, we can help to build a fairer, more prosperous and more sustainable economy here at home. But we also believe that we can play a part, together with all of you, in bringing benefits to nations across the Arctic and around the world. So that's why I am so delighted and so honoured indeed that Scotland is hosting this year's Arctic Circle Forum. I hope that all of you find all of the sessions enjoyable and informative. And above all, I really do hope and have a great deal of confidence that this event will mark the start of even closer relations between Scotland and our neighbours in the New North. Thank you very much indeed, and please enjoy your time in Edinburgh.
Thank you.